This year's Indian Wells Championships are now all wrapped up, and like I did for the women's video earlier today, we're now recapping Indian Wells by going over the good, the bad, and the ugly. In this video, we're featuring the men's side of things, and we get started today with your champion in Jack Draper. For Draper, guys, right, his first big signature win on tour. Congratulations to him. Not only does he win this year's Indian Wells tournament, win a ATP 1000 event, but now welcome to the top 10. His win over Carlos Alcaraz in the semifinals got him into the top 10, and he follows it up with a big win in the finals over Holger Rune. Congratulations to Jack Draper. A very bright future in front of him, and a really good showing at this year's Indian Wells tournament. Not only does he win it, but beats Carlos Alcaraz along the way, the defending back-to-back champion. So Draper, got to give him all the credit in the world. Awesome showing here at Indian Wells. Speaking of awesome showings, you got to give a shout out to the runner-up in this year's event and Holger Rune. Rune, guys, I know, big up spot here for him. So many people were so high on him, and then he kind of had a little bit of a dip there, I thought, in 2024. He finished 2024 strong, though, and that's carried now into 2025. Great showing here at Indian Wells, finishing runner-up in this year's tournament. A bright spot for Rune as we're getting closer to that clay season where he normally has a lot of success on. So keep that in mind as we go forward with Rune. Guys, really quickly too, I have two other quick names I want to talk about in this category, and they're your semifinalists, Carlos Alcaraz, Daniil Medvedev. These guys made the finals the last 2 years with Alcaraz getting the wins both years, but now here they are, another strong showing, both these guys making it to the semifinals. So another good tournaments here at Indian Wells for those two. Now we move along to the bad category, and for this category, I'm going to go with Frances Tiafoe. Tiafoe, this is a surface that you would expect him to do well at, and what does he do? Loses to a qualifier in round 3. Not a good look for Tiafoe. I think a lot of people may have had him as a sleeper in this year's tournament. Not a good look there for him, especially being a hard court specialist like he is. Now, guys, we end today's video by going over the ugly, and I have 3 names here in this category. All 3 of these guys lost in round 2, names that you would not think. Gonna get started with Alexander Zverev, who was the top seed for this tournament. Now, granted, his loss may have aged a little well than the other guys, but still, being the top seed in this tournament, losing so early, very bad look for him. Speaking of bad looks, a guy that's probably was the face of tennis for so long in Novak Djokovic, again, losing in round 2. Djokovic had that very good Australian Open showing. He was banged up. He was hurt. He had to pull out of the semifinal matchup there with Zverev. You're wondering, did he come back a little too soon here? Because that was not a good showing here in Indian Wells, and he hasn't looked right since that injury at the Australian Open. And finally, guys, one last name here, another round 2 loss in Andrey Rublev. Now, Rublev, right, I feel like he might lose in round 2 a little bit more than these other 2 guys. But still, he had momentum coming in this year's tournament. He just won an ATP 500 event and then follows that up with all this momentum by losing in round 2 at Indian Wells. Not a good look for Andrey Rublev. So that was your good, the bad, and the ugly from this year's Indian Wells Championship. Like I mentioned in the beginning, I did do a video from the women's tournament that was posted earlier today, so make sure you guys check that out if you haven't already. And make sure you guys like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel. I'll have continued coverage of the 2025 tennis season, including the Miami Open. We're headed to the Sunshine State for a big tournament there, an ATP 1000 event there in Miami, so that's going to be a fun tournament. I'll have continued coverage right here on this YouTube channel, so make sure you guys stay right here.